Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're looking at Season 20 and which class is going to get the fastest stars. Now, the season starts on the 13th of March, so a really quick PSA. Do not do your challenge rift on the 9th of March. When it resets, you're going to have to wait until after the season has started and you've made your seasonal character. I've leveled a character without a challenge bag several times and it is quite painful, so definitely don't make that mistake. Save your challenge rift until the 9th. But today we're going to look at the starting sets and rank them in terms of order as to how good they are. So what we're going to consider today is going to be how quick a class is 1 to 70, how easy multipliers are to find once you do get to 70, the power and strength of the 2 and 4 piece bonuses. So again, how easy is it to get your 6 piece bonus up? Then once you do have that, how easy is it to put a build together? So are the items easy to find? Are there many options? And then once you do get a build together with the set, how good is it? How quickly does it go in the bin? That type of thing. Now we are going to limit this to the starting set, so we're not going to talk about Legacy of Dreams very much, we're not going to talk about other builds, but I will give a little bit of a mention in terms of what you might be gearing off into after you do have your 6 piece set up. At the end of the day, guys, this is just an opinion. I play casually, I play solo, so my own personal preferences probably do creep into this. And to be honest, this is one of the harder one of these lists I've had to do. I do think there is a bit of bunching, and any of the classes will make a pretty solid start, so I wouldn't say there's one that's particularly worse, but hopefully it's fun to rank them, and you guys can chip in with some comments if I'm overshooting or undershooting anything. And just in case you don't know, the season theme this time around is the Season of the Forbidden Archives. So what it does is, instead of having to select a weapon, an armor piece and a jewelry piece in the canonized cube, that restriction is open and you can put whatever you want in there. So you can have 3 weapons, 3 jewelry pieces, mix and match whatever you want. Now the only thing you can't do is you can't duplicate items, so you can't pick something more than once, and you can't put something that your class wouldn't normally have access to. But other than that, you can go whichever way you want. Now 1 to 70, it's not going to have much of an impact, but it does come into play a little bit at 70. And from playing the PTR quite a lot, I think it's probably going to be about 95% of builds will have an impact. But again, obviously, the more flexible build is, the easier it's going to be to work the season theme in. So it's going to be a slight consideration for this list, but not a massive one. And welcome to the channel. If you are new, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I've got plenty more Season 20 build-up material on the way. And as always, guys, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated and does motivate me to make more videos. So if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be greatly appreciated. So let's kick off the list. In 7th place, we've got the Necromancer. Now the Necromancer is going to get the Tragul's avatar set. Now I do feel bad throwing some shade on Necro because it is my favourite class in the game. And I think if this was just a list of 1 to 70, I think Necro could well be number 1 or number 2, because getting to 70 is a breeze. You have a guaranteed multiplier, you have pets to chain enemies together, and even once you do get to 70, it's really powerful, multipliers are plentiful, really easy to get. It's just the issue I have is the Trag set isn't particularly great. So looking at the 2 piece, Blood Rush will gain the effect of every rune. That's really nice for utility, but it's not really going to give you any damage. The 4 piece is going to give you some toughness, so again, not helping out with damage. This is offset by the ease of multipliers that you can find, so it is fairly powerful. And then the 6 piece bonus is fairly okay. It's a flat damage increase of 3800% to any blood spending ability. So it is flexible in terms of you can use whatever items you find. The only downside is you are tied to blood spending abilities, and it really doesn't hit that hard. Now I have made a starter guide for the Tragul set, and you can do 75 T16 fairly comfortably with it, but it just kind of punches itself out around there. Now I haven't tested Blood Lance because I don't really enjoy that playstyle. Lance is probably better on Pestilence and Legacy of Dreams anyway, so I've gone for Nova. But Blood Mages is also a fairly powerful build, so there are a few options to get you up there. The only reason I'm giving this last is because I do think you are going to probably put it in the bin pretty quickly, and let's face it, Necro is just a complete Legacy of Dreams class these days, and there's even an argument for maybe just jumping on that straight away rather than doing your season journey. But more on that in my Necro starter video, which will be coming soon. So the second question I'd say probably is going to be a speed set. You're probably not going to push with it, and it will get you up to that kind of 70-75 fairly quickly. So I suppose that is pretty good, but just when we compare it to the rest of the sets that are on offer, I do think it probably lags behind, and I would put it in last place. And one thing I probably should say about the Necro is that the set dungeons are really easy, so if you are looking to bust out the Masters of the Universe Conquest, Necro is a pretty good choice because 4 of those set dungeons will be boxed off really easily. But other than that, it's going to get 7th. Now coming in next, I'm going to give the Crusader 6th. Now I always think Crusader is going to be one of those classes that does take quite a while to level, but having done it a few times over recent seasons, it is always quicker than I anticipate. Now you can get some decent multipliers early. There are also some combinations you can put together, such as Blessed Hammer, Shield and Braces, so with some good RNG you can really put the work in early doors. And the Seeker of the Light is pretty strong. All I'd say is that multipliers, there are plenty for Crusader to pick up, but in terms of what synergizes well with the set, there's not that much on offer. So the 2-piece will give us some cooldown reduction, so not particularly helpful for putting together a 6-piece bonus. 4-piece again is damage reduction, so again we're not really getting anything out of the 2 and 4-piece that's overly helpful. And on the 6-piece we get a massive Blessed Hammer damage increase and also Falling Sword by quite a bit as well. Now obviously because these are specific skills you have to find the supporting items, so in terms of gearing out a final build for this it is a bit more fiddly than let's say the Necro that we just looked at, but it is certainly a lot more powerful. You know, the damage increase for 12,000% plus the supporting items does hit pretty hard. I'd say this is probably going to be like a push build. You know, there's not too much in terms of speed off Seeker of the Light, and again it's certainly not a destination you're going to want to end up at. You're probably going to want to gear off into Shotgun or Fist of Heavens. So all in all, it is a very strong set, but what I would say is with it not having any kind of speed utility and with it having very set specific items, I'm going to give it 6th place. But again, no shade, Crusader's in a really good spot and it will be a pretty good solid start for you. And hopefully speaking, I can get a Hammer's Guide out either before the season starts or very shortly thereafter. So next up we've got the Monk, and Uliana's is pretty strong, so it's quite a nice set to get. Again, similar to Crusader, it's fairly easy to pick up multipliers whilst leveling. There's various different options that you can get hold of for the Monk, and in particular Gundo gear I think you can pick up quite early, and that will pair really well with the set when you do get to 70. So looking at the 2 and 4-piece bonuses, they are actually very handy because a 3rd hit of Spirit Generators on the 2-piece is going to give us Exploding Palm, so that does give us more damage. Again, on the 4-piece, 7-sided strike gets a 777% total damage with each hit, again adding to damage. And then the 6-piece, Exploding Palm is increased by 9,000% and 7-sided strike detonates Exploding Palm. So what we can glean from this is we're just getting damage every step of the way, so it is something that transitions into a build fairly quickly. Now again, similar to the Seeker of the Light, obviously you're going to have to take Exploding Palm, 7-sided strike, and you need the supporting items with that. It is a bit fiddly to get fist weapons, but there are a couple that will buff up your damage, and Ingeum is going to be quite helpful. So the gear pieces are a little tricky to find, but they are very powerful, and this is a very powerful set. So again, you can speed with this. It probably is better at speeding than Seeker of the Light, and it does push very well as well. And again, with the season theme, there's maybe some combinations you can use with the weapons to get a little bit more out of it. But all in all, it's very strong. It's just the fact that it's tied to the single skills that you've only got that one option to go for, which is why I've marked it down a little bit. But again, really strong choice, so absolutely no problem with Monk, and it does get 5th. Now in 4th, I've gone for the Demon Hunter, which is going to start with Natalia's. Now Demon Hunter I find is probably one of the slower classes to level. You can pick up a dagger multiplier very easily, but what I tend to find is the Impale Dagger isn't that useful for leveling. It always feels like it should be, but for me I just find it doesn't make much impact. So getting to 70 I'd say is probably fairly slow as a DH. Again, multipliers aren't exactly plentiful, they're not the easiest things to pick up, particularly if you compared it to something like Necro. But what I would say is that the set is pretty strong, so the 2-piece isn't really going to do too much. We get some cooldown reduction essentially on skills. The 4-piece, Rain of Vengeance, is going to give us double damage, so that is giving us a bit of damage, which is nice. But really it's a 6-piece is where all the action happens, so after casting Rain of Vengeance we deal 14,000% extra damage and get the damage reduction. So it is a little harder to get the 6-piece because you're not getting your DR until then, but it's not the end of the world, and the thing that is really nice is this 14,000% extra damage just applies to everything, so it is very flexible. It's very easy to put something really strong together very easily. Even in terms of endgame viable builds, you can do N6 M4, you can do rapid fire. There's lots of different things that you can put together with this, so it is really flexible. So from that point of view, it does get a bit more out of the season theme, plus it also starts with 7 pieces rather than 6, which I always think if you're a casual player is a bit of an advantage. Getting that one extra legendary early on can help you out quite a bit. To be honest, it was really tough as to whether this was going to go 4th or 3rd, and it might just be personal opinion because in 3rd I've gone for Barb, and I do play a lot of Barb and it is one of my favourite classes. So in 3rd we have the Barbarian, who's going to start with the Immortal King set. Now Barb I think just has an easier time up to 70, and the multipliers are pretty easy to get working your way up to your 6-piece. There's loads of braces you can get that are pretty easy to pick up at level 1. Your damage reduction, Band of Might, is really easy to get at level 1, and Barb just in general, gearing one out is pretty quick and effective. So in terms of putting your 6-piece together, I do think they have a very easy time of it. The 2-piece isn't amazing, but it can help you out. You can pick whatever rune you want on there and you'll get either bonus fury, maybe a little bit of damage or damage reduction. The 4-piece is really interesting. Wrath of the Berserker cooldown is greatly reduced, so this helps out tremendously for, again, extra damage, extra move speed. So 2 and 4-piece bonus is very nice. And then the 6-piece, provided you've got Wrath of the Berserker and Call of the Ancients up, which with the 2 and 4-piece is very easy, you get 4000% increased damage. Now this is just a flat multiplier and it's really easy to pair things together, so Seismic Slam, Hammer of the Ancients, things like that. Braces are very easy to get. You can do a level 1 character, as we say, and go back and get them and match them with mighty weapons, and it is pretty easy. The one thing to bear in mind as well is because it's 7 pieces, you can mix this with the brand new set in the game, the Horde of the 90 Savages. That will give you a double damage modifier for freeze, stun or feared enemies. Stun's really easy to get off as a barb. There's plenty of things you can do to stun, so again, you might be able to mix those two things together to get some even more damage. So again, pretty straightforward. And the reason Barb is getting in third is just because I think there's so many different combinations you can run and the multipliers are just so easy to get. So it may not be the highest push in terms of all of the sets available, but overall flexibility wise I do think it is really good. In terms of Barb, at the end, once you've geared the set out, you probably will be looking to move off into Whirlwind. I have done a guide on the new Frenzy set, so again that's another option that is pretty powerful, and the Whirlwind guides are on the channel, so again, IK probably not an end destination, but a pretty good transition. Now in second, we've got the Witch Doctor, which is going to get the Arakeers set. Arakeers is a really interesting set. It's all based around creatures. It is good, it is powerful. Witch Doctor is the king of speed leveling. Again, you've got lots of pets, lots of dots to tick, so massacre bonusing is very easy. You can have a pretty easy ride up to 70. Now once you do get to 70, the 2-piece for this is quite interesting because you've got a giant spider that's going to do 4000% damage over time. Not the best thing in the world, but again, it's some extra damage, so you know, you take it. So the 4-piece is going to give you damage reduction, so again, not particularly amazing. So 2 and 4-piece are okay, they're not great, but they're okay. And then the 6-piece, you get 9000% on all of your creature skills. So the 9000% damage increase is quite nice because there are plenty of creature skills in the game. And again, you're looking for other multipliers that will buff these up. And the set is fairly strong, it is fairly decent for pushing. Now you can also speed, you can do Turbo Chicken with Arakeer as well. So again, very handy for maybe doing the boss mode conquest. But Arakeer probably isn't going to be a final destination. You're going to want to move over onto the new Spirit Barrage set, or maybe even Dagger of Darts, but still pretty solid, and I do think it is very good. So we get to number 1, which is the winner, and probably no great surprise, I'm going to give this to Veers and the Wizard class. Now Wizard in terms of leveling to 1 to 70 again can be a bit tricky. There are some really nice multipliers and plenty in the loot pool early, it's just you need a bit of RNG to get them. Now if you do, you'll be rocketing along, but either which way, once you get to 70, once you start putting this set together, the set is just incredible, and that's kind of why it's going to get number 1 spot. So the 2-piece Archon gains the effect of every rune, obviously very useful. The only issue you've ever got with Veers is going to be cooldown, but because the Messerschmitt's Reaver is in the loot pool now, there's only 4 two-handed axes, so it is pretty easy to pick up. So cooldown can be managed very effectively early on. Again, if you find a Zodiac Ring, again, you're just going to be absolutely away. So if you roll cooldown, have a Messerschmitt's, you will be absolutely flying. 4-piece Archon stacks increase attack speed, armor and resistance. So again, the 4-piece is going to add quite a bit of damage to us because we get that attack speed bonus. And then on the 6-piece, every Archon stack is going to give us reduced damage and bonus damage. Obviously you're looking to get the Chantodos set as well, so ones are a bit fiddly to roll, but orbs you can obviously do shards for. Once you get your Chantodos set, once you get Veers up and going and a Messerschmitt, you'll be absolutely flying with this. And out of all the builds on this list in terms of the starting sets, this is one that I know can push quite well, and it also speeds tremendously well as well. So all round, it's just probably the best set on offer out of all of the starters. Now in terms of Wizard, you may not want to play Veers all season, and you may want to get off onto Hydra. The new set does look pretty strong. We also do have Legacy of Dreams, albeit the Hydras have been nerfed a little bit, but I've been mixing it with Meteor and that's a pretty fun build, so I'm kind of hopeful that that might be a good way to go. But obviously plenty of options with Wizard, but Veers is a really solid start. So that's it guys, that's my kind of list and my thought process. Now I wouldn't say that this should put anybody off any particular class, because all of these sets can be used to transition into everything, and the classes all in all have all got some really good builds now, so almost anything can get to 100 pretty comfortably as a casual player, and everything has got at least an 80-85 plus pretty easy speed farm build to set up. So as I say, maybe not the end of the world, but if you are looking for the strongest set, in my opinion, it's going to be Veers for Season 20. But as always guys, I'm happy to read your comments, happy to be corrected. Let me know what you're going to pick for your starting class, and are you pumped and excited for Season 20? So that's all today. I will be back with some more Season 20 build up stuff over the next few days. Enjoy the rest of your day, take it easy, peace.